Hello everybody, welcome to the Stream of Chaos. We are back this time, hopefully, with sound. As I was saying before I so rudely interrupted myself just moments ago, I'm James and we are going to be playing Age of Vikings today. A brief intermission from our Pendragon adventures because we are Daveless. We miss him dearly, but he will be back soon and we will be tearing around Iceland for a little while in the meantime. Age of Vikings is a great game where we are going to be doing all kinds of heroic, fantastical adventures that usually take place in sagas. I am joined by this fantastic cast, who you all know already so well, who will be playing as the people in these sagas. Let's hear who they are, what they're about, starting, if we could, with Art.
Hi, I'm Art. I'm gonna do a thing where I say some stuff and then make sure that no one says, hey, we can't hear you, because that would be very frustrating. But I'm gonna assume it's fine. I'm Art. I exist. I'm playing a Viking with a name that I'm gonna mispronounce, and I apologize in advance, but I am playing Sigmunda Gunnarsson. Gunnarsson?
I think that's pretty close. There's going to be a lot of pronunciation. We're going to do our best, or I am.
But you know what? For simplicity, call me Sig. It's probably easier.
Sig? All right.
And I'm a what did we say they were called? Skalds?
Skald.
Yes.
Or in, the regular ass vernacular of bard. I'm a bard. I'm a big lad. I'm blonde because raisins. Vikings, I think. I have a very silly hat. I have a very orange jerkin. I'm like a little round, but like a round bean. And apparently, I'm a bard.
Very good. Ready to talk. Ready to maybe get out some poetry. We'll see how we go. Let's go across to
Saga. Thank you.
Very true.
I have Beowulf on my somewhere around here. I know that's technically not the same cultural area, but I've got Beowulf. Like
We've got it.
I think that's a very valid piece of source material to lean on. Let's go across to Jackson.
That's me. I'm Jackson, and I'm playing Jarl Porolfsson, also known as Jarl the Beardless. He is big, he is aggressive, he has a muscular torso and ill-fitting clothes, and he's here to make a name for himself and knock down all the baddies in his way. Should be a good time.
Sounds like someone on the front cover of a romance novel. I am intrigued.
Heck yeah, that was written by a Skald. I'm probably just following the Skald around and saying, hey, did you see that? Did you see that? You're going to write a saga about that? That's pretty good. Maybe next poetry. That monster I just killed.
Describe it.
I did just read my character sheet slightly. It is important to know that I also have, quoting here, lots of cheap jewelry.
Love that for you.
Love that for me too.
Yeah, well, I mean,
jangle.
The real question is, does everyone know how cheap it is?
I mean, I think anyone who has any kind of worldliness probably does, but if I'm just dealing with, people what hit things overhead with sticks, probably not.
Yeah, that's all you need, right? As long as you can pick your clientele. Going from scoldly positivity of romance novel characters straight across to Alex, who are you playing? Are they equally cool?
I'm playing Thrymia Solerson, and no. Thrymia's nickname is in fact the Ugly. I'm a rune mage. I'm the creepy magic user. I've got a shaven head and burn scars on my face and neck, but I do have new clothes.
That's pretty cool.
So,
in this day and age.
My clothes are new, presumably because all of my old ones burned to ash.
Often a good reason for a replacement. Although, as a rune...
Can't mend them.
Yeah, as someone who can do rune magic, you're kind of... walking around naked probably wouldn't be outside of the realm of possibility for your sort of odd spiritual behavior.
No, but I've got the burn scars. I don't really need to be flapping my privates around. I've got the physical I'm a weird magic person. I don't have to resort to that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, perfect. So this is our cast, and I think with that, let's jump right into things. We're going to be playing a scenario called the AlThing. Again, pronunciation of a rune in there.
Pronunciation pending.
Pronunciation pending. But I mentioned the name of it because this is also the name of a very important time within the social calendar of all the people in Iceland. You know, it's a pretty incredible place during this era, now too. But basically, it's this incredibly dynamic, politically shifting environment where it is at the same time managing to hold itself together with this like pseudo sort of household democratic assembly stuff that is at the same time driven by blood feuds and vengeance and all of this other great stuff. Jewels are getting thrown around haphazardly. But at the beginning of Midsummer, when everything is really nice, the days are at their longest. It's still Iceland, so it's not going to be fantastically warm and balmy, but it is really great weather, and people from all over the country gather together for the National Assembly, where they can go through all of the various bits and pieces of administrative stuff, including some quite complex legal procedures and some quite extensive drinking. Basically, you are all gathering for a party, and there is some social expectations on you while you're at the party, but whether you decide to attend to those or basically just have a hell of a good time throwing axes, wrestling, and trying to start fistfights is ultimately up to you. There is a pseudo-truce that holds over the region. People don't bring weapons into the kind of main gathering grounds, but they might bring them and they will pack them away, stuff like that. It would be a huge breach of decorum for you to start swinging weapons at one of these places, unless it was in the strictures of a duel or something like that. But at the same time, a lot of the more powerful leaders, Godi, I believe is the term for sort of these like clan leaders or elders, will bring huge hosts of warriors with them to back up what they're saying with a bunch of soldiers who could theoretically thump everybody if they needed to. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to focus on the good stuff, and we're going to focus on the three of you as heroes. You are prominent people in your communities, and as heroes, you're kind of generally trying to help each other. Help yourselves, too, because the glory of doing adventures and all of this kind of stuff often flows directly down to bettering your own household and your own pocket. But you're also, in general, trying to basically make sure that everyone around you gets lifted up. And as a result, you've met each other before, you're all in the same kind of generally interconnected communities, and therefore, when you arrive at the AlThing, you'll be rallying together and using this as an opportunity to try and lift up your small area of Iceland, your small subjective community. Let's talk about how you're getting there. There are going to be people who are taking all kinds of caravans across the country, sailing over. This is one of the times when it is particularly navigable compared to the rest of the year. People are traveling in style. There's a lot of merchants. Some people are probably traveling not very in style. Thimur, I'm thinking of you. I dread to think what kind of odd wandering you're doing. But give us a sense of how you would be rocking up at this grand gathering ground as the entire country basically migrates towards this enormous meeting. Does anybody have an idea?
I'm either going in a relatively, comfortable manner because I can, or because I've talked my way into it.
Yeah, fair enough. Fantastic. Basically, probably the most comfortable way to get there would be via a caravan or something like that, getting all of the work done for you. I can imagine you sitting up at the front of a cart, telling stories and basically...
Oh yeah, I'll trade storytelling for comfortable, I don't think that, I don't know if the stream can see our character art, and I'm not sure if we're able to, share the character art as part of stuff, but my dude does not really look like he does a huge amount of, I'm gonna say he has the capacity to, as with anyone who lives in this time period, do something physical, but he's not a man that enjoys physical labor. He would much prefer to exchange words and song for wine and passage.
Yeah, you might be more interested in the drinking and eating contests that take place at the event rather than any of the.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Politics is interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
Knowing the way the world works, useful thing to have in your back pocket. But yeah, drinking merriment.
For sure. So, riding through in a caravan amongst basically this great throng of people. I mean, again, Iceland at a certain period of history where the roads are not packed, roads as that there are. But you are traveling along with the many people overland heading towards it. Let's keep to the same order as we introduce ourselves. Then, Njal, how would you be heading? Are you aboard a ship or what's the go?
Mine is the exact opposite of now I don't know everyone else's names. What was that
Sig.
name?
Sig.
Sig.
Just call me Sig.
Even better.
Well, I mean, it's Sigmunda, but Sig to my friend. But given that I'm a bard, everyone's my friend, so like Sig is fine.
Perfect. Mine is the exact opposite of Sig because Njal's highest characteristic is size at 18. He's approximately the size of the ox, and so he thought it would be really funny if he came in like dragging his own wagon, being like, my ox needed a break, so I thought I'd take over for him. He's somewhere at the back. And his own wagon is like full of his broadsword, spear, and shield, and bow, and more spears, because he's got weapons up the wazoo that he's probably either made or bought from the spoils of war or captured on the battlefield. And so, yeah, he just thought it'd be funny to have that big entrance of, here comes Njal, the size of the ox. Where is his ox? He doesn't need one. He's his own ox.
Let me ask you this: Did you do something like take the ox most of the way and then quietly leave it at a farm and drag it, or did you set off and only realize you were in a problem like after 5Ks of dragging a wagon? And have you been continuing to pull this thing for
That's
for the
a
last
good
several
question.
days?
Do you know what? No, I think he's not that charismatic. So maybe I'll take that back. It wasn't actually an intentional thing. It was just, well, Mark's needed a break. I thought so. This made sense. So no, never mind. He didn't do it intentionally. It was just like, Mike needs to get there.
That's how the Skalds will tell it. It was a great bit, and not him going, "What?" Yeah,
Nice.
Fantastic. Alex, what about yourself?
No, I'm already there.
Oh, very good. All right. So it's kind of up to you how odd you present yourself within the scope of rune speakers generally. The book talks about how there's every kind, and it can be, you can be a great hero of many raids, or you can be a downright odd person who is sort of like drifting in between the visible and invisible worlds. And I take it that you're presenting yourself as more of the latter.
Oh, definitely. Showing up in, those people that you never hear them approach you and they always seem to be there, and like a real jump scare of a human.
Yes.
Just like a jump scare of a person. Extremely, looking at my stats, I'm extremely tall, it looks like. My size is 17, but my strength is 9.
So tall and lanky. You are not
Tall and lanky, and it's deeply, deeply creepy.
That's perfect. Okay, so
Nobody saw me enter. Nobody saw me approach from the watchtowers, and I am already there.
You've been kind of watching everybody set up slowly, and the assembly grounds slowly get put together. As more and more people arrive, you're seeing all of these different crafts, amusements, systems being set up. There are people hawking wares. There are people recruiting, trying to find soldiers or workers or people who will go on grand sailing voyages with them. There is a whole area of like courting. Basically, this is an area where people can find suitors and things like that. There's drinking contests, there's religious ceremonies, and there is also a grand set of legal procedures, as I mentioned, that are going to get put forth a little later. As the collection of you arrive, you are probably going to find each other pretty quickly. More likely, you will be found by the Godi that you basically report to. This is a guy called Bjorg, and he is the kind of wise fellow that you take your directions from. You know that he has the best interests of your community at heart, and he has his finger on the pulse of all the politics around this. But Iceland's a very interconnected place where your role and your connection to all of these other families and groups are going to be very important. we are going to roll some dice and see what kind of attachments you have to the various bits and pieces that are going on here. I'd like everyone to roll a d6 for me. Let's go in reverse order this time. Let's start with Timur. Timur. I'm going to pronounce that like a million different ways as we go.
Great. I am figuring out this dice thing.
No worries.
I do not
I have found out
a
how to
formula
put
for d6, but that's okay.
skills into my
Let's just
character
type
sheet,
it
so that's what
in.
I'm doing.
Fair enough.
too.
Okay.
Forgive me while I just disappear off into the ether.
Quite all right. So with a result of 2, okay, so you are the person who you know best, probably because I imagine that they arrived at the same time as you, maybe. But I'll let you decide on the exact nature of your relationship. At any rate, you know a guy called Hjortur Helleson. He is a owner of a boat. And he is quite wealthy, and he has aspirations. He is planning a raid on the mainland, and he wants to get as many people as he can to come with him, so that you can sail off. And that means warriors, that means skilled navigators, that means the whole suite of people that are going to be needed. How do you think you know this person? The default would be they're sort of a distant family member, but the exact nature of your relationship, whether it's antagonistic or positive, I leave it to you.
Well, they have aspirations, yes?
It's a pretty bold thing to try and get this started. They're an entrepreneur.
I think I am probably using them. I think I'm probably attached to them I may have identified them as somebody with a lot of money and very little sense, but great aspirations, and as somebody who is currently and always will be on the fringes of society at best. It's always good to have somebody. It's always good to know a guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think I have cultivated quite deliberately this relationship of knowing this guy, even if it means occasionally manipulating him, so that when his fortunes come good, I'm going to be associated with that. I'm on the voyages. I've got somebody that if I need funds or social credit,
yeah,
that's kind of the purpose this person serves in my life.
And let me ask this: what if this goes wrong? What if the ship never comes back? How exposed are you in terms of having set this up?
Oh, I was never there.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. I love it. So you're pushing Hjortur, and you know that he's going to be recruiting. I mean, ideally, he gets a bunch of good, people who are going to help him out, but we'll see how that goes as the
money talks. I trust him in that regard. I don't think he's a complete fool.
Yeah, you're not gonna stake your reputation or stake your sort of.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's, that's the proxy he serves, and there are always more of him. So
very behind the throne. I like it. Njal, let's get a d6 roll from you, and if you roll a 2, I'm just going to add 1 to it and give you a 3, and we'll cycle up like that.
1, because I'm number 1.
Okay.
number
fantastic.
1.
You are familiar with oh my! I'm reading my own. I tried to write things out phonetically when I was taking my notes. I'm like, this is going to be great. And I'm like, what? Guatur, I think, or Guartur.
Spell it out for me, just for fun.
Okay. Let me get
just for my own notes.
Let me get the my horrible.
Oh, you even dropped the original spelling. That's bold.
It's you gotta take risks. You're so Gautraour.
Oh my gosh, that's too many vowels.
Well, to add to it, you've got an acute accent on the A and a.
I don't have time for that.
So I would call it a circumflex, but I'm not sure what it is in. I'm not sure.
Circumflex is still, I think. I'm pretty
it's
sure.
Still? Okay,
well,
fantastic.
I don't know if it's the same in Icelandic, but that's what we call it in English because we take a lot of the. We wouldn't say acute or grand, but we would say accent. I'm not sure if there's a way to differentiate between them. in English, but yeah, I'm pretty sure circumflex is the English term for the same thing.
I think so. I think it is. I think it is that. So
That's okay.
My parent linguistics turning in the grave, etc. etc.
Guatur is a blacksmith. And again, distant relative, we'll say, but you can decide on the exact nature of how you feel about them. But they have something that's going on too. You know that they were commissioned by a absolute Viking hero, a famous raider, somebody who is at the peak of Icelandic society, to put together a sword, restoring it from an ancient one. It's just this beautiful piece. And the hero, Storia the Black was her name, has died, and she was not able to pay for it or pick it up. This has left Guatur kind of in a bit of a scramble. This is a really expensive item that he's put a lot of time and effort into, and he basically needs to try and sell it off to somebody. It means that there is a pretty damn good sword going at a discount, but also you're aware that Storia the Black's family are reaching out and making some claims against the blade. So there's a bit of tension there. How do you think you fit into this?
So it sounds like the family might like try to spin it into like
They're still
she already
entitled
paid
to
for
it,
it,
and
they,
like,
yeah,
and
gotcha.
I'm very happy. There's going to be sort of future consequences in terms of some of the other social events coming based on where you land on certain sides and what relationships you have to the people here. So you are completely welcome to say you are a distant relative of Storia the Black and you hate this guy and you want to try and like bully him, or you could be a friend of his who is trying to help him out.
I'm inclined to be on the blacksmith side because
Yep.
you know I like weapons.
Yeah.
That's all I learned from my character sheet so far, and I'd very much like to be in line for that in line for that sword. But now I'm thinking about Niall's just got like no charisma, not bad intelligence, but I don't think he has a great feel for people. I would be happy if Niall's kind of being used by Guator in some kind of ploy to like get the sword into his hands in some way. Like maybe Guator is like, man, if only like Njal could go on this mighty quest and have this great need for a sword, then it would be incumbent on me to make sure he gets the sword, because for whatever reason Guator is like unhappy with Storia's family getting it. That's my instinct. It's like, yeah, I think Njal's not going to be much of a schemer, much of a mover and shaker. I think he's just going to be the big guy, sometimes in the right place, sometimes in the wrong place, at the right time or the wrong time.
I really like that. Maybe adjusting stuff a little bit then. Guatur will say, did get a bunch of money for it, but the death means that the sale is void. And Storia's family are coming and saying, you need to give us all this money back. And he said, well, with the death, it went to the noble warrior Njal. I'm no longer liable. So it's kind of throwing you under the bus a little bit for that. And there is this idea that you will receive the weapon at some point during the Allthing.
But maybe like, yeah, but maybe first I have to like find a reason why I have a desperate need for it first. And so that's what's on my mind. Guator has been like, maybe Guator hasn't even told Njal. He hasn't even told me like about the family thing. He's just like, I've got this sword. Hey, if you can find this mighty quest that you need this sword for, I think, you know,
That's perfect.
I can see to it that you can have it.
I really like that. Let's lean into that. And last but not least, let's go with Art and see who you know around here.
Yes. I got so close to filling in so many things. Dice and things. D6? D6.
Yes, please.
Hey! 3.
3.
We already done that.
Okay, this is actually fantastic because we haven't rolled any duplicates. This is amazing.
Hey!
So, you know that there is a real firebrand of a woman. Her name is Mani Ormsson-dottir, right?
Oh, Ormsson-dottir. So Mani's daughter of Ormsson. That's how those names. That's why they're daughter and son.
Yeah, they're
son of and daughter of.
patronymic.
Thank you,
Yes.
Crusader King. and the Eurovision movie.
No, yeah, 100%. So this is somebody that you know. She is a like sort of real linchpin of the community. She is also a widow. Her husband is dead. She has 3 children. She has quite a large property, and it is sort of going into disrepair. She needs to find a new partner. And she's basically come because she needs like to find someone. She needs to sort of go into a lot of these courting rituals, and she needs, I imagine, a matchmaker. I get the idea that you two are friends, and she's this real like no nonsense character who doesn't really have time to like play coy and needs someone with a skull's charisma to be able to do all of the sort of it's a Cyrano for her a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Have you heard tell of the beauty of the widow Mani? You know, such beauty and such grace. Is lost upon the world, and lost upon, well, many a fine man. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yes. I don't have words this morning. But luckily I have dice rolls, so that's fine.
Exactly. The whole thing hasn't really kicked off yet. You've got time. Let me just ask you one thing before we go forward. Do you think that Sig has himself in contention at all, or probably not?
Jim, my character says I have a lot of cheap jewelry. I'm not sure Sig is a ladies' man, if you know what I mean.
Right, I see. Okay.
Which, for the record, not a slight on people who like cheap jewelry or anything, but just I read that and I was like,
Shiny things.
Our boy is not interested in physical labor, very much about adorning himself in shiny things, very much about helping all of his lady friends find the right match.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
a true
you've got a 2000s teen movie queer best friend.
Girl, not for you. That is not the Viking for you. You gotta look higher than that. Nah.
I adore it.
So I guess apologies in advance for any queer stereotypes. But it's with love. We love our queer community.
So we have the connections that you all have going into this. You all know somebody who is going to be around at the Allthing, but there's also so much to do. By the time that you arrive, the event is getting pretty close to kicking off properly. You know that it will begin the next morning with a large religious ceremony. And in anticipation of that, you all meet with your Godi Bjorg, and he's sort of chatting through a few details, telling you about all the little minor pieces of politics. You discuss that you know a few of the people there. He mentions all of the other various bits and pieces, but he has a more important thing, and he seems pretty excited about it. And this sort of puts forward the idea a little bit that you're all heroes. You have become noticed, and therefore your community has become noticed. And Jorg explains that a big part of all of this event is that the National Council is going to pass judgments on various cases and disputes that have been brought before the Assembly. It's a lot of work, and there's a certain amount of delegation that happens. The collection of you have been invited to participate as jurors to help and decide in some of these cases. 3 of them specifically. We would really like this to go well. It would behoove our community if we are seen as wise and just moderators. If these turn messy, if everyone leaves unhappy, that's not going to help us. I would like the 3 of you to really try and find a way that we can secure allies during these. You have a lot of authority in deciding how this is going to happen, and even if we have to sort of make some enemies to make allies, it may be better to, secure some alliances in this regard. But I defer to the 3 of you in exactly how you want to go about doing that. Of course, if anything gets too messy, we can always try and resolve things with duels and things like that, or also suggest that the parties do that. I would like to avoid any oaths of vengeance being sworn. Those can have much more long-term effects.
But they make for such good stories.
They only in the retrospective retelling.
That's true. They are a little messy at the point. I take your point.
So, the religious ceremony the next morning is going to go through some of the details of that, but you basically have the evening to yourself. But first of all, Bjork gives you a vague idea of what's to come, and you also have all of these events. As I mentioned, there's stuff happening everywhere. The 3 cases that the collection of you are going to have a chance to throw your weight into. First of all, there has been a murder. A man named Vestin, a berserker and a pretty well-regarded warrior, has been accused of secret murder. Really serious crime. And
Hang on. Is there another type? I guess technically you could murder someone in like a duel or something, and then it's still murder, but not in like the crime. You said secret murder, and I was like, I'm pretty sure all murders are meant to be secret. Like if it's not secret, you've done fucked up.
So
as opposed to the PR-driven murder campaign.
I'm going to throw out a few terms that we will clarify in this religious ceremony coming, because actually the Allthing opens by having the current law speaker recite verbatim a huge chunk of the laws of the country, because no one is really literate, and it's a big reminder as the National Assembly comes around. It's like, this is how we
am
actually
I literate?
resolve things.
I would assume I am.
It is a pretty big deal.
How do I know if I'm literate?
You should have a rune skill. Let me just check your character sheet. And there is also, to be clear, a different, because the rune magic that gets used does use the runes that are also written and sort of like presented for communication.
But it's a separate thing.
Yes, there is an extra layer of that.
Oh no, it's a read-write skill.
Oh, there is a read-write skill?
I have 0 in.
Perfect. It looks like you also have a base of 0 in, Sigmundur. I think you are oral tradition skald.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because my skaldic poetry is.
Yeah, that's okay, perfect.
And I don't, I forgot. In my brain, which is full of things, I did lose a piece of information, which is that for the longest time, reading and writing was not the way that people kept, retained, and exchanged information.
No, this is back before books.
Just gonna have to really hope that Sig's memory is better than mine.
Well, that's what you've got the dice for. At any rate, so we'll talk a little bit more about some of the legal details then. But the long and short of it, you have a berserker who has been accused of secret murder. You have number 2. There is a divorce proceeding happening, and some decisions need to be made about who gets what, who can make claims. There's some pretty like. I suppose you would say modern ideas around divorce in this day and age, where basically women have a lot more rights to property in terms of like the divorce proceedings in Iceland and a lot of the rest of the world at that time. And then the final one, another case of murder, but as he sort of brings this third one up, he seems a bit tense. This is a more complicated thing. A man named Otkel has been attacked and murdered, and he has been murdered by a very powerful man, and it's going to be quite difficult to extricate ourselves from this without having to take a fairly strong side. The long and the short of it is that there is a man named Ari, and he ambushed Otkel, and Ari is basically a part of a very big family. He's always got weapons, and he is kind of reigning terror on his little part of the country, really ignoring laws. Going against him is problematic because it's going to make you enemies, but he's also created such a nuisance for himself that a lot of the people who live nearby and the sort of smaller individual households just really need to do something about him. So it's going to be a bit tough. Those are the three events. You have the evenings to yourself if you would like to go and explore. I have a whole list of things that can happen. But otherwise, you might want to get some more information. You might want to prepare, or you might just want to head to sleep. As evening begins to fall, I think because we are in the sort of peak of summer when the days last a really long time, it stays pretty bright until quite late. What do the collection of you want to do before knocking off?
I would
There.
like to unhitch myself from my wagon,
Good idea.
and maybe polish my weapons. Maybe look for like, is this a thing? Is anyone up for some not jousting? What's the word I'm for? Sparring?
Sparring.
Is that a thing that happens?
So sparring directly with weapons, as I mentioned, there's a bit of a truce. In the context
that's
of
right,
games,
yes.
absolutely. There's a lot of throwing axe competitions that are happening and stuff like that.
Heck yeah.
Otherwise, there is wrestling tournaments. If you want to go and have a look at some of that, you meet this. In particular, there's a guy called Oscar. This really really small, short man who is as enthusiastic about throwing axes as he is terrible at them. And he is offering a small prize for anyone who can best him. As he does this for years. It's his passion.
But he's terrible at it?
He's really bad at it, but he's also a fairly wealthy older guy who has the capacity to sort of like enjoy this, and he wants competition. He wants to spend time with people who love throwing axes as much as him.
Well, so am I. I'm also terrible at throwing axes, so we got a game.
Okay, fantastic. It might be close. We'll jump to that and we'll roll through it in a second. But first of all, let's figure out what Sig and Themor are doing. Any ideas?
Is there a tavern slash great hall slash something?
There are a bunch of tables that have just been like set out in the open. Some areas are covered. But yeah, there's a huge amount of food and drink specifically that you can get a hold of.
Oh, that wasn't my plan. My plan was maybe to go and get a drink and then just go stand in the middle of, I'm assuming there are people at the tables?
Yeah.
And just announce to the crowd, who wants to hear a saga?
Okay. I love it. Fantastic. So you find the biggest like social gathering you can, and you immediately ingratiate yourself into it, start spending time chatting to people. This is such a boisterous event. There are people jostling at either side. There's yells and cries and songs, great fires set out all around, people wandering between their caravans and tents. It's a great vibe. Themord, what about yourself?
I think I'm going to take some time to meditate and pray.
Okay, fantastic. Let's start with you then, as you retire to... Where do you think you're set up? Despite having been here for a long while, are you still somehow... Did you sit right in the middle of where the grounds were meant to be, and then everyone edged away from you slowly, or something like that?
Yeah, I knew that would happen. It always does. So I would have posted up kind of at the edge, and I think I went down to a stream one day to collect some water, have a drink, and then when I came back, someone had built a stable around my campsite. So I think I'm kind of hanging out, and I think I'm basically sleeping in the hayloft.
Okay. Perfect.
But there would be a monument. It would have been a temporary monument built to Odin. There'd be somewhere spiritual for me to take a seat
to take a moment.
Yeah.
I think that because there is so much happening around here, because you have a huge worship Odin skill of literally 100. But I might ask you to make, I think, one of my favorite skills from Age of Vikings. There is a skill called Go Under the Cloak.
Under the cloak, yes.
This is basically just getting rid of the physical world in a sort of aesthetic sense and trying to tune things out so you can get more in touch in what's happening around. So you find a quiet place, in the corner of the barn, wrap your cloak around you. You happy to make a roll for that?
For sure. I think what I'm doing with this is just I want to kind of get an internal spiritual vibe check for this whole event, all of the things that are happening, all of the people in it. Just get like a mental spiritual concept, like fabric map of how people are, the general vibe of the place, how people are feeling, what are the tensions, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's going to be a standy roll,
Yep, just so your skill is 65, so you want under that, and with a
which I've
52,
got.
that's
39.
oh yeah, so 39. My
yeah.
mistake. Sorry about that. Yeah,
Oh
39.
yeah, sorry, that was my mistake. I pressed a button instead of pressing a different button, and then I rolled some dice.
Fair enough. 39. Yeah, okay. So total success. You're able to tune everything out. You've been doing it for ages, even when there were some people here really early and they were doing construction work, setting up some of the few sort of permanent structures that were going to be around here. You were able to tune out all of the distractions, and you feel pretty practiced at it. Do you have any like meditation tricks? Do you do? Do you hum to yourself? Do you have incense? Any kind of flavor you want to lean on there?
Well, I'm a rune magician.
Yeah.
I think it's just hands in pockets and just running my hands over the runes. And if it's quiet, which it's not, and if you're paying attention, which nobody ever is, you can hear them kind of clicking like river stones, just quite methodically, almost like a metronome.
I
And
really
it's
like
just
it.
me basically just trying to get the beat of what is going on.
So
It's like a heartbeat.
this is this is an incredibly volatile place, but it's also very easy to connect to the kind of undercurrent of magic that's happening here. The entire country is coming together, and it is a confluence of all purpose, and it leads to this sort of like fountain of just of will, of expended focus. This is where so many consequential decisions are made in the physical world, and that is so important that it has a flow-on effect. And this is also the heart of a real spiritual center. This is where worship and sacrifices and all kinds of things take place. As you kind of take a few breaths and you start to extend out your reach, what you do swear, because you become very aware, as you said, of listening to all of this different sounds. You're listening to this metronome, and the faint background sound of footsteps has become this like constant hum in your ears. And as you start to feel more in tune with the world around you, you feel like that just slightly starts to build up. You become convinced that some of the hidden people are in attendance. The hidden people, for those not familiar with the lore of the Icelandic sagas and things, and Iceland in general, effectively these are elves. Is probably a good way to put it.
I was hoping you'd say elves.
Yeah. It's a little different.
They're elves.
Yeah, elves.
Again, have you seen the oh my goodness, Eurovision movie?
Yeah, I haven't, but I know of it.
You give them treats or they stab you.
I gotta check that ruling because at any rate, the elves appear humanoid, and they can operate in society. They generally are basically just invisible, and although they live normally, they sustain themselves by fishing and farming and stuff like that. They farm and tend to invisible cattle, and can basically just disappear when they would like to. As you become more in tune with everything that's happening around you, although you can't specifically tell where anyone is, you're sure that the hidden people are making an appearance here. Finding them and speaking to them is probably a good thing, because the hidden people usually try to help. They're sort of a positive influence as long as you are positive back.
As I said, give them treats or they stab you.
Yeah, exactly. That's
if you respect them and you give them gifts, then they help you.
Oh, well, for sure. Yeah.
Ish.
Let's do Nyal next quickly as we jump across to a little bit of axe throwing. Yeah, your thrown axe skill, Nyal, it looks to me like it's base. I'm not seeing anything.
It is
Yeah.
base, but I also
Beautiful.
have, and I'm just guessing here, but my category of missile weapons is 10. So that means I have a +10 to all missile weapons?
That is correct. Yes. So
I was hoping so. So it's actually 20.
Very good. So yes, you have bonuses to your base skills based on your characteristics in this game, applying sort of broadly. So if you're incredibly charismatic, you're going to have bonuses to your communication. Sigmundur, I actually think you have. What's your communication bonus? It is +10, whereas Jarl's is -5. So these things happen. But with a throwing axe bonus of 10, that is going to give you a 20 value. You could try and use a passion here to get a little bit of bonus, but it doesn't seem to me like you're... it sounds to me like you're kind of more having fun here, so I'm not...
Very much so. Is there any honor in throwing axe competitions?
You know, there would be, but probably not against Oscar.
Okay.
There's honor in... You'd lose honor for... No, you won't lose honor for losing to him. But yeah, he's not a particularly dangerous candidate.
No, that's fine. All right, I'm just gonna have a good time. This is hilarious. I love that you've just like laid out the upcoming quest and the intrigue that's happening in the next few days, and we've all gone, yeah, okay, we all want a break.
Hey,
listen, get off the case, Jim.
Oscar is going to be part of the National Assembly, basically.
It'll come to us.
Everything that you do here is going to have longer-term influences. It's all an interconnected web. Yeah, let's get a roll, and I will do a roll for Oscar.
Excellent. Now, how can I roll from this sheet? Oh, just like that. Huh. Oh my goodness. I was so close. Is there luck in this? Is there any way I can get another 3 points from my ass?
I'm afraid there is not luck. This is where passions would kind of come in. I am so sorry.
Dang, look at that.
Now, retroactively, though, there is a whole thing about particular roles being sort of easier or harder, basically. Based on circumstance, you can add certain bonuses to your skill. But since I failed the roll, I just want to check first of all.
Well, can I argue that this is not like combat? This isn't the hurly-burly of actually throwing an axe to try to kill someone. This was, plant my feet down, look up the distance, feel the weight of the axe, give a few practice swings. Would I get a bonus from that?
I'm pretty happy to say, considering that you were so close, and considering that Oscar is both a poor of an axe thrower and rolled pretty terribly, you're able to. Basically,
beat him at least. If not do a good showing, I did better than him.
You're not. No one's going, oh my god, poor Njal, the warrior who can't beat Oscar. You're not doing anything flashy, but you have a good time and you chat to him. If you would like, you could make sort of a secondary social role of some kind. It would probably be an intrigue to try and skew. Like get sort of a favor out of Oscar, like you have such a good time, but your intrigue is not fantastic.
It's actually above base. It's my highest communication skill.
May as well try for it.
Not my highest, but it's up there. Intrigue.
Yes.
Huh. No, it's all good. 47 out of 15.
In which case, I mean, you have a good time, but you're not winning any particular favors. Although you've established yourself, you've got your name out there, and you're also spotting all of the other types of contests that are going on. You can see that there is wrestling, and you can see that there is a feats of strength space too. But you don't really have time to look at that for now. Possibly later.
That's fine.
Sig, you are in the middle of a crowd of people, making friends, telling stories, making the most of the time that you're here. I would like to get some kind of communication role from you. I mean, sing is probably a fantastic option here. You could just do a skaldic poetry role if you want to be specifically reciting a story. I think that since skaldic poetry is much more of like you're sitting down and you're doing a thing. That's kind of your activity, if you know what I mean. You're not going to necessarily be able to do things at the same time, but that's still going to have an impact.
Yeah, no, I'm the entertainment. Right. Like, I'm sure there are other bards around, other skalds around, but I'm pretty good. Yeah, no, I have a character that has skaldic poetry. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. Go ahead, make a roll. So it's got 65 being your target.
I have no augments or anything. So,
I don't think that. Yeah, I mean,
success.
success. You don't need any augments. You're fine.
Nope.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
also don't know. We talked about the different roly things, and I'm
Yeah. So the higher levels of success, you get a special success if you get a fifth of your target, and you get a critical if you get a 20th target.
got it.
Yeah. Perfect. So you start, and this is your trade. This is what you do. There are other skulls around, and you almost get kind of folded into the people who are like working this event more than enjoying it, which you're perfectly comfortable with blending the two. I'm going to give you a couple of pieces of information. First of all, you sort of in general, you are seen, you are known. This will probably put you in good stead if you are trying to appeal to a large crowd of people, say at some kind of legal event that might be coming up. But more in particular, you also notice a couple of things happening, potentially some angles you can pull on. You notice that probably the most popular woman here is Yirsa Sevendottir. She is this very stocky, very tall woman who is drinking everyone under the table. She has the bearing and countenance of a hardened alcoholic, and is just sort of sitting down, and everyone seems to really enjoy shoving drinking horns into the hands of people, getting them to sit opposite her, and then pointing and laughing as they retch into gutters, into ditches. What am I talking about?
Same.
You also notice something else, and this would be without any kind of perception. There are two people here, and they look familiar. So they look similar to each other. You guess they're probably siblings. And you've spent a lot of time in taverns and around people, working cons. Basically, you are pretty sure they are trying to get people drunk so they can rob them. You notice it. It's not obvious enough that you've sort of like caught them red-handed, but as you spot these two, they're a little short. They're a little they look like they're a bit underfed. They also don't look like they're from here. You would expect that they probably were taken back in a raid or something like that. It sort of jumps into your mind that they might not be up to particular good, but also arguably not particularly bad. They don't seem like they're violent. They're just trying to get people drunk so they can nick stuff from them. I'm interested in what Sig would sort of do here. Do you feel driven to intervene, or?
I'm in the middle of a story, so probably like one of those things where Sig would be like, "Oh, that's interesting. We should keep an eye on them."
It's part of the event, at any rate. Yeah.
Yeah. Sig likes people watching because people are what makes stories interesting. So if there's always a chance that something unobtrusive kicks off a chain of events that become something larger, which is often the way with big like saga stories, is something innocuous happens and it sort of drives a bunch of people to do crazy things. So yeah, just like notes it, is going to keep a bit of an eye on those two to get an idea of what exactly it is they're up to. But otherwise,
Yeah.
is pleased that he now won't get scammed by them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You definitely have a bit of a defense against that. You're probably up late into the night continuing storytelling. Njal, I imagine after a sort of riveting bit of exercise, you realize how sore you are after dragging a wagon and go and collapse to sleep in it. Timur, you can just fall asleep under the cloak if you would like, and get up the next morning. But unless anyone has anything to do, we'll jump to the next day as events start to kick off more thoroughly. Obviously, Vikings can go pretty hard and have a big night, but this is such an important day. Everyone is up bright and early, getting ready and gathering together for the large opening ceremony of the Allthing. Even those people who are who really want to be doing other stuff, they're really busy. You know that Bjorg is currently in a heated negotiation about buying a herd of cattle. with a merchant who has arrived, but like they like stop everything so that everyone can gather around and take part in this pretty important ceremony. It's nice. It's religiously driven. Timur, you're probably kind of towards the front of with a lot of the more spiritual folk. There is a sacrifice made to Tyr as the thing sets off. And as I mentioned, the current law speaker, a man named Thorkel, comes up and begins a long recitation. There's that odd moment after about 10 or 20 minutes of being like, this is really cool and I should be listening to, sort of going, this is really long. There's a lot of laws as they go into it. Who's listening with rapt attention? Who's trying to spot and do something else?
It's got to be me. Like, I'm definitely.
You're mouthing the words.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
I probably, like, if they're related to the fact that we're gonna have to enact or make decisions on them, then Sig will listen. I feel like a law, like, yeah, Sig's paying attention because, again, it's knowledge.
It's important, and you also have a pretty damn good memory for this sort of thing. So I imagine that, like, for words and stuff. So this, although you probably don't have the the spiritual wherewithal to take on the role of lawkeeper, you're a little more worldly than that, cheap jewelry and all. You are definitely interested in the way that these sort of stories and ideas and laws have been built. Niall, does that leave you on the other side of things?
Niall actually has above base law, interestingly enough, so I think I have an interest in it, but who knows how much of it sticks.
Okay.
I think Niall is going to be paying attention, but who knows how much of it, flows out the other ear.
Yeah, excellent. Well,
Despite his best efforts.
Let's talk a little bit about Icelandic law then, because
please,
that's part of it, and how all of these kind of conflict resolutions are going to take place.
I just looked at my law skill.
What's your law skill?
55.
Yeah. Okay. So
Nice.
This is, like I said.
So I think like I'm half paying attention because I know a lot of this already.
Exactly.
Or are you trying to be the law speaker someday? Are you criticizing this guy because you're coming after his job?
No, you don't become the next law speaker by criticizing the previous one. That's a good way to get
Become
shanked. Also, that sounds like work. And do I look like the kind of person who likes work? I like stories.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so perfect. Basically,
I think also I am listening intently, but with a slight ulterior motive. If I got the impression last night that there are likely to be hidden folk in attendance, I may also be I'm listening with the intent to figure out what particular areas of this event may be interesting to them.
Do you want to make a spot hidden check?
What about a second sight check?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, second sight is very much more specifically driven at being able to see the hidden world. Absolutely. Yes, make a second sight roll. That's even more fantastic.
Yes.
Okay.
The second sight is 60.
So spot hidden, you would be relying on a lot of basically physical giveaways, and as someone knowledgeable about the hidden folk, you know some of the minor details that are different about them. So for example, instead of a divot on their lip, they have a ridge. And that's one of the sort of big giveaways. The second is they have no division between their nostrils. But these are relatively subtle traits that in, the heat of conversation and moment, it can be difficult to notice, particularly because hidden people are very good at remaining hidden. They may not want you to see it, and if they don't want you to, they have ways of sort of ensuring you don't pick up on it. But you don't need to rely on such, kind of base methods. You are attuned to the hidden world. Some humans, particularly if they fall in love with hidden folk, can become so attuned that they actually fade into the hidden world entirely, and there is transference, and you are able to pay attention. And with that in mind, you notice someone who is first of all, you notice someone moving in the crowd who's wearing a specific piece of jewelry, and just the way it's made, the craftsmanship of how it's put together, and the fine sort of threads of like woven hairs and animal product that make into it. It's just like a luck charm. You immediately identify that as craftsmanship of the hidden folk. And spotting a few more of those throughout, you eventually spy a woman, and she is standing in the crowd, listening, and she has a satchel sling full of these. She looks like a merchant, and appears to be selling them or giving them away or something. And you spot the telltale signs. Do you want yourself to be spotted in return? I'm totally happy for you to be. It wouldn't be offensive for you to be.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just like I'm not hiding that I've seen her and I've clocked her, so if it's a respectful nod.
Yeah, It's I think
Just a
you're a rune speaker. That's kind of your role within the society, and this
respectful nod.
Yeah, exactly. This person nods back. You feel. You when you leave later, you will spot them again very easily without having to engage your second sight. They're not trying to hide from you. So if you wanted to go over and chat to them, you would be totally able to do so.
We'll see.
Okay, fantastic.
Give them their space now.
Meanwhile, the law, as this continues to be discussed, basically, conflict resolution works like this: when a legal slight or something that needs to be resolved via appealing to the society happens, it is generally taken to a regional council, right? Yes.
Sorry, Jim. Which type of law are we talking about? Because I have
AW.
Okay, in that case, I've only got 40 in that, but I've still
Either way,
got.
You're talented enough.
The 55 is area law for Iceland, and that's LORE.
No, this is legal disputes, and I mean, if you think about it, we've played a lot of Pendragon recently, and you can think of all of the sort of complex legal shenanigans that happen there in terms of like rules of hospitality, kings having say, and all of it being a bit arbitrary at the end of the day, based on vibe and honor and politeness. There's law, LAW regulations here, and there is a big meeting, a national assembly where someone stands up and recites all of the laws, and juries basically that come together to decide this stuff. So it's a fairly advanced legal system. And here's how it works. Minor stuff gets taken to regional kind of authorities, people like Godis, or so Bjorg would have resolved a bunch of like smaller disputes in your community. There's like a tier below the AlThing, which is these spring councils basically, where people go to take larger stuff, and the biggest disputes that no one else can solve that become so tense, they either go directly to the AlThing or they can get risen there. It's sort of like a high court equivalent.
When you say risen, you mean like either they go direct to it or it goes through the other systems, and then they're like, no, you got to go to the old thing.
If no one can decide in the smaller areas, basically, because there's perceived to be conflicts of interest and stuff like that, it gets escalated. And there's a pretty good idea of like people having a stake in things, because everyone's related to everyone distantly. If you have too much family, you kind of have to go to a larger court. And even then, it typically doesn't really mean that you're not in a court where your family are. It just means that, whether if the other person has more family in the area, it just means going to a higher court means that you probably have as much family now too. So it just extends the networks of reach. The standard way, there's like out of court, just sort of conversations. Fines can be paid, money, cattle, and services like that. You've got the legal courts, where basically Godis or juries like yourself make decisions and put those down. Then there's like steps of compensation beyond that. So you basically decree that someone has to pay this, someone has to do that. The next step up, and unfortunately this can happen regardless of whether a court sides in your favor or not. You can call for duels. And this is often, if you lose in the courts, you can immediately go, I disregard what the court said, I want a duel. Come and fight me. These can be to the death, but both parties have to decide it. And if you have a duel and you lose, you can basically lose all of your possessions. They're often held on islands off the coast, so that A, people can't participate, and B, so cowardly people can't run away. They do things like laying down a cloak and getting people to stand on it, and if you step off the cloak, you're out, and you whack each other with swords. It's a pretty bloodthirsty affair. And then the worst option is blood vengeance, which is kind of acknowledged and accepted by everybody. You always have the right to kind of declare blood vengeance. Some people might not think it's valid, but if you go through the legal process of doing it, they kind of like you might lose honor, or you might be put down in esteem. But if you do it properly about a slight that is of the level that allows you to do it, you can legally do things like murder family members of the person who aggrieved you. There are some extra rules around that, which is like you can't attack children, although as soon as you hit a certain age, they become targetable. And it's very messy because typically it's allowed to like sit in purgatory or be held for like up to 10 years, and then suddenly you can go, I enact vengeance, and murder someone's sister or something like that. It's tense. Obviously that's a bit of an exaggeration, but this is what Bjorg would like to avoid getting declared. So if you can try and stop things getting to that point, that would be grand. Any questions about the legal system before the ceremony will draw to a close?
I
You
will
said
have
there's,
more
like-
later.
Yeah.
You said that there was specific situations in which like a blood vengeance, oath of vengeance, whatever,
Yes.
like sort of gets called in a sort of official way.
Yep.
And then some people might just do it, but everyone's gonna be like, okay, buddy, nah.
Yeah.
Is there sort of like, is it like a duel that kind of anyone has the right to do it, and there is, or is there a way that we can actually stop that happening by like taking certain legal pathways to be like, well, if you do this, the court doesn't recognize it because it's not appropriate?
It's a tough one, and this is
Okay.
this is sort of the biggest kind of like problem of the legal system, is that it like there is always sort of an escalating point where you can just go, I blood vengeance against you and will attack you for that. Now it has to reach a certain level. You can't do this over a triviality. Whereas you can call a duel over an insult. You cannot declare blood vengeance over a minor insult. But unfortunately,
I mean, I'm assuming you can. It's just if you try and enact it, everyone will be like, you murdered a bunch of people and you're in the wrong.
Exactly. But yeah, if it approaches any kind of sort of like serious crime, basically, or serious damage,
Like a
against-
murder?
Murder, absolutely. So murder would justify you to declare blood vengeance, absolutely. Serious injury. Extremely serious theft, or like like someone burning down your family farm would probably be enough. And unfortunately, if the other side thinks that you have like gone too far and what you did doesn't justify swearing blood vengeance, they have to basically raise a court case against you. And unfortunately, there is the constant Uno reverse card of blood vengeancing someone's respective court. Now, of course, the nuance of this within the actual like historical context is much more detailed. But yeah, here we want to try and keep tempers cool. That's basically the best way to stop these things from happening. So if you can find solutions that everyone is happy to, ideally by making impassioned speeches or appealing to people's good nature, or maybe stepping up and dueling if you need to like really cool stuff down, that's probably the best approach. All right. The ceremony continues, and with all of you basically connected to this fairly closely, you stay rapt and attentive pretty much up until the end, where people break away. There is a small break, and then everyone starts to gather again and drift off into the various assembly groups. You're gathered around a very large, like stone outcropping, where people begin to drift away, and Bjorg comes, speaks to you again, reminds you of what was previously discussed. You've got sort of a little bit of time to prepare if you would like to learn a bit more, and you start to see parties of actual aggrieved people drift together. The first court case that's going to take place is this murder. So this is again
Secret murder.
secret murder. Yes,
The worst kind.
absolutely. This would be murder outside of any of the strictures of like a blood vengeance or like a duel or anything like that. This is someone who just straight up killed the other person.
Gotta kill the guy.
Yeah, it sucks. And without any recourse.
And
right?
it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's not that the man was murdered. It's that it was illegal.
Illegal.
We don't care so much about people getting murdered. This is a thing that just happens because Vikings be Vikings. But illegally murdering someone, none of that.
Yeah, especially because the people who have the capacity to sort of raise these cases are not quite nobility in the same sense, because that structure doesn't quite exist, but they're citizens as such. Like they have the power to seek legal recourse. And as Arcus Stephens pointed out in chat very kindly, secret murder, you tried to hide it. You're trying to get away from it.
I'm trying to cover it up. It's not like a murder. It's not like a crime of passion where you're just in a bar and you've, given somebody a big whomp with in the exact wrong way, and they've hit their head and they've died, and you're going, oh no,
yeah,
I have murdered a person.
Strong words.
It's plotted.
Great.
It's not. It's unhonorable. It's sneaky. Someone tried to do it
Sneaky.
and we don't like sneak.
No.
Well, not unless it's
Not for murder.
no.
Well, at any rate, so you see groups start to form. The sort of members of the assembly who will be presiding over this are all together with yourselves around there as well, a sort of collection of important citizens and heroes from various parts of Iceland who are delegated to hear this. The plaintiff and the defendant, so to speak. These are not really terms that are used in this situation.
The aggrieved
here.
party and the aggriever.
Exactly, that's a much better way to say it. The aggrieved party and the griever are formed into their own little groups. And you can start to either speak to them
or the aggrieved party and the accused.
The aggrieved party and the accused. That's probably better. Yes.
Yeah.
Gather up and What are the three of you doing amongst all of this? Are you trying to speak to the other assembly members? Are you trying to go over to either of the groups? Are you trying to just learn more about what's happened?
That one.
Okay, perfect.
Learn more about, like, I don't know. Are they going to be like opening speeches? Do both people get to present their case? Do they get to yell over each other, or is it an order? Like, do they just both stand and go, "This man killed my friend or my son," and the other person goes, "No, I didn't." Like, how, what's
they're both going to come up and present arguments. Now, typically this would be resolved by like a council of like the Godar, the people like Bjorg. But this here, it's sort of like it's much more involved with everybody. They're going to come up and they're going to make speeches, and then you'll be able to ask questions. You'll be able to debate it through. It's quite freeform. You're meant to let the other people talk. There's almost certainly going to be some level of yelling. And unfortunately, the only gavel that you have to get order is applied to someone's head. So, maintain control.
What Bill told us was that we're here less about... The impression I get is we're as jurors, we're not necessarily here to find the truth and seek justice, but to see who we should get on side, whether we should try to start an alliance with Vestin, or if we try to start an alliance with the murdered kin. Is that the impression we get?
Basically, it's all sort of held in tension, and there's some level of personal priority for it and what you think is important. The key thing is this: if you really dive into the weeds and you find a truly fair solution in which both parties are upset, but it's fair, that's probably a pretty bad outcome, because now everyone's pissed at you and no one's happy. In that situation, it's ideally you find something where everyone goes, yeah, that's fair, and thinks that you're just swell because you really came to a wise decision. So if you can, blow something wide open and make it clear that there's only one way that this should have gone and everyone agrees with you, that's great. if you're forced to make like a tough compromise, it may be better to just cut your losses and to fall down hard on someone's side. Ideally, the person who is going to be more beneficial towards you.
I want to find out which side that is. I want to find out, like, if the case is so muddy and we can't come to a clear, answer. I want to know, is it better to have Vestin, the accused, or better to have the kin of the victim on my side?
Okay, absolutely perfect.
Accused or the aggrieved? Which one?
What's the name of the murder victim?
The murder victim. I'll get you that in a second, but first of all, I just want to quickly ask Alex, what is Theomore doing?
Yeah. I know I've got things I can do to make people better speakers, better, but I don't really want to be doing those in public. People are not a huge fan. So what instead I think I'm doing is I am scanning the crowd and the groups of people, but also outside of that to see if there is this is going to be a very passionate case for people. If there is anybody on the outskirts who is looking to cause trouble.
I like that.
Basically, just anyone who is not like somebody who might be creeping up to dispense justice of their own, or somebody who looks like they're about to start shit.
Perfect. I'm going to get you to make a spot hidden right away.
Where is that?
Come back to the other two in just a moment.
Okay, great.
It's under perception.
No. Nope.
Nope.
Nice.
Okay, so
Nice.
you've got an eye out and you're wandering, and you're
There's just
keeping.
too many people here.
There's a lot of people. More particularly for that role, you don't spot something immediately, but you're paying attention, and we'll come back to that. As for the specific details, before I come down and explain which side or give more information, I have one last fun little dice roll. Theomore, since you failed, we might get you to do this again because I think the others are about to make some tests. Can you roll a d4 for me? And this is going to imply whether you have a family tie to this particular case. If it's a 1, we'll do
All of
me,
us
which
or
means no
like-
It's a 1.
Okay, so no one. So that's good. So that hits me, order of our heads. This is actually a case where none of you are encumbered upon, you're not related to anybody. You can make some actual objective decisions.
Great. Of all the cases to be making objective decisions in, I'm glad it is this one.
Well, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Nyal, can I get a intrigue from you? And Sig, can I get a listen, I think, from you, probably? Okay. Oh, successes on both.
That's yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Not a fifth, but no.
Do
Wait.
we check the box for a success?
I believe you do. Check it just in case, because I'll have to confirm that rule. But yes, successes on both. So first of all, a little bit of extra detail, and this. So Sig, I'm start with this is what Sig learns in terms of the general details, and then I'll lean into the intrigue of that extra layer that you start to get about which side is probably the more influential. The accused is a guy called Skafti. So the accuser is a guy called Skafti Fjorgudsen. He is very well liked. He's a known quantity, and he has quite a bit of support. He has charged Vestin of the Highlands with secret murder. Specifically having killed a guy named Hrafn Holarsen and one of Hrafn Holarsen's thralls. Vestin is a berserker. That is a pretty important role. And there's sort of an idea of like, oh, if you pissed off a berserker, then that's what you get. Unfortunately, though, like it's a bit more complicated than that. First of all, Vestin, the berserker, is not in attendance. He's kind of wanted, and he's just one person. It's very likely he could get attacked if he comes in, even though that would be, or like he's also not particularly good at talking. This is a fighter. So he instead, representing him, is his brother Bigfus. Bigfus is uh, a little bit like sniveling is probably mean, but yeah, for all of the ways in which his brother is like big and larger than life, he might be falling just a bit short. Uh, the rough details, the sort of like the claim is that they met the last time that they were known to be together was on uh, uh, Horfarson's property. So he was killed in his home, basically, which speaks to some level of how aggrieved you can be killing someone in their house, because the berserker would have had to have gone there, and that's sort of the extra details of the case that you would pick up. In terms of intrigue, uh, Vestin is a really good warrior. He is, if he doesn't get exiled because of this, because that is one of the punishments, he could end up being sort of a hero of repute. But Skafti is a socially and diplomatically powerful person. He's not a great warrior in the same way, but he is a community leader, and he represents the voices of a much larger swath. And Vestin is like by himself. His family is not important. It's basically one guy versus a group, effectively, in terms of trying to decide how that swings. Okay.
Well, I've heard the details. Heard that Vestin and Vigfus aren't particularly liked where Skufti is. I think I'm ready to cast my vote.
Okay, brilliant.
I mean, let's see if we can find an outcome.
Yeah.
But,
Are we deciding? We decide the outcome as well. We just
so
decide.
basically you get to throw So you get to throw in your voice and try and decide like sway the opinion of the majority. If you say something that is pretty reasonable, there's a good chance that everyone's going to kind of swing your way. What I'll get this to come down to mechanically is I'll ask somebody, probably Sig, to make an orate skill to argue your point across as this goes, and you can basically swing people your direction depending on how good your arguments are, how sensible you've been in deciding a lot of this stuff. Yeah. Both parties are going to come up. Both parties are going to start making arguments. If either of you want to ask any specific questions, you can. But otherwise, I will. We'll move across to a mechanical roll. Does anyone want any extra detail about the crime, or make any insights on the behavior of either party? Scufty's like a middle-aged man, very well presented, trimmed beard.
What's the reason that's been given for the doing of the murder?
Insulted him, Vigfors says, and he doesn't justify it much beyond like Horfarson should have known better. He was rude. He was uncouth. This is justified. I claim that he has overstepped and should have known better than to overstep against somebody of such renown as my elder brother. This isn't a great argument, probably.
I would say to be like, sure, if he's overstepped, then a duel, perhaps to the death, would be in order. But this was not a duel. This was a secretive, sneaky, underhanded method of attempting to get someone back for a nasty thing they said. This really sounds, based on that argument, like a very minor slight was given that was taken great offense at, but there was knowledge perhaps that it would not be appropriate to duel to the death over something so minor as whatever was said.
Vigfors starts to Vigfors starts to flick his eyes back and forth, and we don't know, right? Because Skafti commands so many voices. He has an agenda. He has ideas. He's obfuscated the truth. What if it was a duel and my brother's been forced to hide away because of lies spread, slander against his name?
It happened. He was found dead in his house. That doesn't seem like a likely duel location. No one in their right mind would accept a jewel inside their own abode where all of their things are could be broken. I mean, you're Bigfoot.
The
You're
point stands, but it will be. It was in a field near his house, but the point stands.
oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah. You know,
But with no
and
witnesses.
no one a jewel is an official thing. At least someone would have needed to have known about it. And to the point, Veston is not here. So did he tell you what was said?
I've spoken to my brother. Yes, that's why I've come here, and I've
So
defended.
what was said?
He kind of visibly hesitates. Do you want to make an? I think probably do you have I think your insight is 35 with your added. No, that's Theomor's insight. Sorry. Sigmundur.
No, my insight's very much base. I'm
You
not
st-
really. I'm looking to talk to get him to talk back. I am very happy to leave the reading of the people to like other people.
All right, we'll get you to make an aura check in a second. Then let's go to Thimord for a moment and say, because you said you were walking around the outside trying to get
sure
an
am.
idea. Yeah, make an insight check.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's good.
Oh my god, that is extremely good.
I think we're good there.
Yes.
Is that a 20th?
Yeah. Mine is what is mine?
Your skill is an insight of 35.
35, so yeah.
20th, yeah, all right, fantastic. My god.
It's not quite a 20th unless you round
40
up.
would be a 20th, right? So no, it's just a special success. But don't worry, a special success is still
good.
Absolutely enough. Yeah, and considering you were walking around, what we're going to do is we're going to say that you notice a particular tell that you might not have had you not already been sort of searching around the outside. When Sig asks, "What did your brother tell you?" You spot for just the smallest fleeting second, Vigford, his eyes glance across to a large hooded figure in the crowd who is sort of hanging a little out of sight, watching and waiting. And you immediately figure that you think that Vestine is there.
That's spicy.
Probably lurking to burst in and scream, "I challenge you to a duel," if this doesn't go in his favor. You'll make a speech in a second.
Oh dear.
Sig, do you want to, Thimor, do you want to try and action anything here beforehand?
I am not going to speak because my charisma is so low. I don't speak well at all.
You can quietly sort of like.
I think what I'll probably.
And,
yeah, I think what I'll probably do. Sig is holding court at the moment.
I'm just talking.
But while everybody's eyes are there, I might go up to our large burly friend. Are you intending to speak?
No, but I'd be very interested to hear that Vestin is here.
I think what I'll probably do is just a quick circuit of past our intriguing friend and nod towards the large cloaked figure. Reckon that's Vestin. And then
let's expose
just like
him.
and then I'm going to keep going towards Sig to supply the same information as quietly as an aside as I can.
You can.
And you are welcome to follow.
Okay, perfect.
With that knowledge, I think Sig's going to do a little bit of a sneaky.
Yep.
And sort of, kind of so turn to everyone present and go, we don't know what was said. And Vig, you are here representing your brother on your own. And I understand that is a...
I'm going to go stand behind him. Stand behind Vestin.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I want to make... And we are here as a collective to find the fairest and most reasonable way to resolve this aggrievement that has occurred. So, before we make any decisions, I want to give you the opportunity to call upon anyone else here who might be able to assist. If no such person is here, then we shall make our decision based on the information provided, and hopefully everyone here finds that fair and agreeable. But if there is someone else here that could help your cause, we want to give you the opportunity to have them step forward now or forever
Lay the
hold
trap.
their peace.
Yep.
Lay that trap.
Lay the trap expertly. Very good. Nyal, I think so. Starting off with Nyal quickly, I don't think you need to make any kind of check to get up behind this guy. It's relatively simple at this point. It's a very crowded area. He's not A, super alert, B, super likely to be caught. It is just the amount of skill that spotted him. So that's fine. You can position yourself pretty close.
I truly have no idea if like this is mechanically relevant, but I will just note my personality trait is cunning.
Yeah, well,
so
look,
I'm quite glad that I'm like, oh, I can do that.
You are definitely playing into it. I love the setup. I'm going to get you to make an array check here, and before you make it, this is going. We will take this as the kind of larger setup of an array check that will have more consequences, but we'll start getting a sense of how this is going now, basically, because it's all going to pay in how this ultimately goes.
Jim,
yes.
Do you think in this moment I could maybe get a little help from some very important people upstairs?
I think it is quite possible.
Is there a particular god that you happen to have a devotion to? Is that what we're
like
hearing?
3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got 3 as well, but I'd be very interested to hear which ones. Sig follows.
Oh yeah. My devotions, the highest devotion is Odin, of course.
Yeah.
Oh.
The second highest is Freya, obviously. Mm-hmm. Very important god. And then my third is Balder.
Best stories. This is a religious ceremony. This is an important role, effectively. Religious ceremony might be a bit of an overstatement, but this is a like court before the gods in a very large way. Taking on this responsibility, I think, is very much something where you can try and use your devotion to empower yourself. What you can also do probably here is you have loyalty Godi, and you're trying to do this. You could use your loyalty Godi very simply.
How does it work? Do I have to like roll against it and then? It's
exactly it, and you're going to get a bonus based on that. So let me get the exact value for your bonus. But I think, if you want to roll against your loyalty.
Loyalty? Yeah,
yep.
Sure.
Perfect.
That's rude.
Oh my.
It's not a fumble because I have very high, but that's very rude.
I like the idea that maybe your ruse is just a little too subtle for you to sort of have done this like there's a little bit of self-aggrandizement in it because it makes a good story. So it maybe the stuff's going to go through. You're going to take a penalty of this. It just means that you're not going to gain access to that extra level of impassioned.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So straight roll, but this is you are setting up for an ultimate reveal here. Add 15 points to your score for this. So you can take that, and that represents the sort of advantage that you are building.
Okay, let me go to my skills. So in terms of thingy to what's it? Communication. I don't have orate as a skill. I have charm. I also have speak own language.
This really is an orate thing. This is you getting up and making a speech. But so you don't have orate, but you have 10 in communication, so that gives you a plus 10 to it. Now you're going to get 15 because this is particularly easy. So this is going up to 20%, and it's going to go up to 35. Not easy. Not easy. You have set yourself up with a really good thrust for this. So it's going to bump this up to 35, which with the failed impassion still isn't great, but it's a much healthier roll.
Alrighty, well, hang on, how Oh yeah, I can do this, and then I apply. Oh, my augment's only plus 20. Can I have? Do you go? Ah, good. I can do that. Plus 15%.
There's always a chance.
One.
One
Oh
off.
no!
Truly terrible. I am so
And
sorry.
there's no
Art.
luck in
Breaking.
this world. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, well.
But here's the deal, basically. What you don't manage to do is you glare down at Vigfur, and you're really like, you're trying to sort of thread the needle of giving him a chance to know that the game is up, and he should just give in. And you see his eyes like beadily glancing left and right, and he just isn't bright enough to figure out what a perilous position he is in. You can see the cogs turning in his head. He's clearly working some kind of angle, some kind of plan, thinks that he has an edge. And he loudly declares that he's come here, he is defending the charge because...
Oh, so he just like, he steps out at this point and acknowledges.
No, this is Vigfur. This is the guy.
Oh, sorry,
the sniveling brother. Who is he says, there's no one else here. I'm defending the charge because no one will. I am making this statement because I'm putting my farm on the line. If I lose this judgment, I will be responsible for the debts. Why would I do that unless I believe this wholeheartedly? I am standing up because it is the right thing to do, because the gods want me to do it. And I promise you that if you, not you specifically, Sig, but this is to the accuser, Skafti, that if you will not see reason and settle this as legally it should be, then we will have to resort to a duel. This guy is quite small and not particularly intimidating. Skafti laughs. You guys have the knowledge that there is a giant berserker in the crowd who could possibly step up and, answer that duel. But Skafti seems pretty anxious in continuing this. It comes time for a resolution. You've spoken pretty well about this is very clearly not Vigfur's favor. So the assembly will side that way. But you haven't managed to sort of like execute any further manipulation within that.
Is there an opportunity for like, because we do not know what was said and we do not know whether an offense was taken, was had, while the actions are unforgivable, there is an element of doubt that should be considered. And so we like making sure that Skufti gets the result that he wants without entirely bankrupting and like destroying the life of Vigfur.
Yeah.
Irrespective, because I think if Veston steps up and is like, I want a duel, and we have very clearly been like, well, currently your brother's farm is not entirely on the line, and then you want to step in and duel, and it suddenly is again, maybe his brother will actually like take a step back and be like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Like, kind of.
That's a really
is there a yeah.
The presentation before the assembly has failed. So convincing the larger crowd to do that, not as good. This is a kind of dynamic and flowing situation. You could probably try and convince Skufti personally to lower the threshold that he is asking for. That's a tough ask though, without sort of like revealing a lot of stuff. Because if you just sort of tell him Veston is over there, like he's very likely to just like start yelling, "Hey, he's over there!" Kind of. It's a bit delicate. So this, I think, this would be.
What are they asking for? Just like.
Are they asking for
exile?
It's a very large compensation payment, which would sort of basically forfeit most of their goods.
I mean, I think I would perhaps make an attempt to speak to Skufti and say it is understandable that you want reparations for what has happened. We do not I do not think those reparations are unreasonable. But do you really wish to leave this man with truly nothing? Or are you able to find a small nugget of compassion and kindness in your heart to do for this family what they did not do for you and become the bigger person and give them at least some small recompense to ensure that they are not entirely destitute?
I like that. That feels to me like I think a charm is fine here. You're really trying to just sort of appeal to him. So you step aside, you talk to him directly.
I'm happy to step aside and have this not really be like a
it's
thing.
it's a flowing dynamic situation. That's totally fine. Meanwhile, though, the other two of you, so Niall, you're set up behind Vestine. You can see him there. You also notice by the way he's moving, he's clearly armed. He's just like sort of hidden in a cloak.
Weapons allowed at the Allthing?
It's not polite.
But I guess he's berserker, so no one's exactly going to stop him.
Yeah. So if he pulls out a sword and if he pulls out a sword and attacks someone, everyone will attack him. Basically, he's not being honorable, but he's not like, he's not in flagrant violation of any massive rule, basically.
Other than, the secret murder.
Yeah. Yes, but that's what the legal case is for. So he's not. He's like he's out on bail, so to speak.
Good.
Great. So
I just want to like stick behind him. I want to try to stick to his back.
Yep. But you're not trying to take things any further.
No, yeah, I just want to be like ready to grab the back of his neck if he's going to like jump forward. I don't have much stealth or move quietly, but I don't think I need to. If he notices that like I'm stomping around behind him, that's fine. He's the one trying to be sneaky, not me.
Yeah, he's until you try and do something here, you're kind of safe. You've spotted him in the crowd. You've noticed basically the way that you can swing this.
I don't mind if he notices that I've noticed.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
He's not particularly bright. You're fine.
Okay.
And Timur, any angle here you want to try and get going?
I mean, there's more cases to come.
There are. You could also try and get a jump on one of those if you wanted. You know that there's like people waiting, or you like the whole Allthing is open to you to search if you think your impact here has been reached.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna continue doing my stealthy circuit of the room, listening and watching and listening and watching.
Okay.
For anyone who might be planning to disrupt, interrupt, or otherwise influence.
No, perfect.
Do we know each other relatively well?
Yes,
we do now because I just gave you some tips.
You're all.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. You're all under
from
the same goatee and the same. Like you're aware
right.
of each other's
area.
We're in the same community.
Can I have asked you to just also keep half an ear out for some juicy goss for me?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, same diff,
Yeah. All right, great.
I love a drama.
A bit of juicy goss.
I'm trying my very hardest not to make this more dramatic. But if everything goes tits up and a duel is called, Sig's gonna be like, the drama.
We do
so excited. Trying not to though.
So, just with one eye on the time we have left, I think that here's how we're going to resolve this as we get towards the sort of the final decision. I want a charm roll from you to talk to Scufty. That's the first part.
Okay. Can I ask the gods for help in this case, or no?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Boulder's pretty good at talking, yeah.
I believe so. Yes.
Boulder.
I'm gonna have to check for next time. Exactly, because I believe devotion works slightly differently than the passions, but we will.
I believe devotion is you use a devotion point and then you get a bonus. According to what's written on this fun little character sheet I have, it says, where is it? Devotion points can be used when praying to a god for assistance or blessing with a specific situation or task that comports within the god's ideal. Spending 1 gives you 20% bonus to the ability. Same as a success on an augment roll. No idea what that means.
The augment, augment is when you use my passion.
Spending 2 gives you 30. Spending 3 gives you 50%. And you replenish your dedication points by a successful worship deity roll when performing sacrifices or rituals or when taking part in religious festivals or temples. So, maybe here.
Yep.
Is Boulder I've got Boulder, Freya, and Odin. Odin's wisdom, so I could also argue that
I think Odin would probably be the classic.
Great. In that case, I will use one of my points to Odin, and I will get 20% on the roll.
Perfect.
And oh my god, if I fail this one, I'm gonna be so mad.
Sometimes the dice are against you. We'll see.
Sometimes they are, and that's hey, maybe there was a reason for that. Where's my communication? All right. And then I'm getting 20% to this. Beauty. That augment was worth it.
Just made
67 under 70.
In which case, Scuffy definitely is like, I got him on the ropes. He sucks. This guy, but you appeal to his better nature, and at the end of the day, he kind of admits that the thing that the family of Holston need more than a couple of extra heads of cattle is support and being embraced by the community, and having some kind of aggrieved ancient vendetta sworn not going to help them, and lead by example, all the rest of it. The last thing that he would want as well is for this guy's children to grow up and just want to go after Vigfur even further. Basically, he agrees, and he when the National Assembly kind of comes together, as the debates start to go forward, he does it. He cools down the amount that he's asking, and the exact compensation starts to fall back. At this point, you see Vigfur start to get a little worried. Clearly, the plan was for Vestine to come in and basically sweep a duel, Vigfur to basically provoke one, and then so that they can kind of come in and win at the last second. But you can suddenly see that Vigfur is not necessarily willing to kind of risk everything when he can sort of get away from this semi-unscathed. And also, that represents, to be clear, a proper accounting, a proper valid end to this whole affair. So Vestine would have his legal problems over. In that hesitation, though, the Berserker himself seems to be getting angrier and angrier and angrier. About halfway through that conversation, Njal set up behind him. You see him get ready to move forward. He's going to burst in. He's going to start yelling. He's going to start declaring duels. You're certain of it, right? He's not going to attack, but he's going to be very loud and brash. If you want to try and it would be subtle still at this stage. It'd be grabbing him and kind of being like, "You stay back out of this. This has been decided." Or would you like to let this escalate? Because it's also possible that you could sweep in to, just answer a duel yourself if you think you can take this guy.
My instinct is to, if I get the impression he's about to speak up, I kind of just want to, just suck the wind out of his sails by doing it for him. Saying, as if I've just noticed him. Oh, no surprise, secret murderer, secret, court goer. Makes sense.
I like it.
Just before he speaks, so that everyone he loses his element of surprise.
Yeah, heck up his entrance.
Yep. I think this is a.
I gotta use size because I'm grabbing attention to myself, and I'm so big. Oh yeah, here he is, right here. Got him.
I love it.
Really?
No, I think
that was a stretch, but
yeah, no. Well,
you're
you're stealing his thunder. You're mocking his plan. You're trying to belittle him and make him appear more and more unreasonable. Also, you're giving the opportunity for just the Vigfur could kind of say, well, you want to answer this, you answer it, possibly turn against him entirely. It will be decided by an intrigue roll. Having set this up, you're in the right position to do it. You pick the most. I mean, I do you have a different suggestion from intrigue?
I think size. Like I'm just saying, here he is. I'm getting this most people to notice
I didn't
him
realize you
before
were
he gets to
literally
make his
pushing for a
entrance.
sized characteristic thing. I think that's a bit of a. I mean, you can just point, but that's not going to be achieving anything here. I think that intrigue is getting the result you want of undercutting this. Is more to my point.
Could you get a bonus because you roll big?
I was going to say that. So I was going to say it would be intrigue with a plus 15. So that would bring your intrigue to, I think, 30. And then you could try and invoke something.
Got it. You got a god
Yeah,
that's good
is
at
there one of my
noticing
gods
stuff?
that's like all about like bringing things into the light and like
Who's your gods?
exposing hidden things? My gods are Freya, Njortha, and Heimdalla.
I only know one of those.
Heimdalla is like a watcher, right? He watches out. He's like a guard.
Heimdalla is the guardian of the gods and the Bifrost, the Rainbow Bridge, the link between this world and others.
What I get for being like only paying attention to Marvel. I thought his name was Heimdall.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of,
pronunciation,
yeah.
who knows? But yeah, so he's kind of a listener more. He does have though he has the yelling horn, a trumpet that announces the end of the world. So I.
The yelling horn.
Yeah.
Look, I'll pay it. Yeah.
Perfect.
At the end of the day,
Toot, it's all over, folks.
he's the god of singing and music. He's capable of being loud and protection and duty and vigilance. So sort of his domains, his ideals rather. So that's totally fine. Just while we're at it though, Njordor controls the path of the wind, the calm seas, and the summer. It's a seafaring and fishing deity.
And Freya?
Freya is
Freya's a god of like the harvest. Freya is your like Hester.
Agriculture, weather, and fertility. Yes.
Yeah, no, I think Heimdall is perfect for this, and
Also, I think
just
Freya's
realizing
like
now.
god of the home and hearth and stuff like that as well. Like anything to do with. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding of Freya's very much that like fertility home.
So just there's a slight confusion here because there is Freyr and Freya, both of who are siblings, and have
that's-
similar but divergent domains. So you worship Freyr, who is the god of agriculture,
yes, the brother.
weather, and fertility. Freya, YJA, who you do not worship, Njal, is love, beauty, and fertility.
So what do I roll for this for my passion?
Intrigue. Oh, sorry. So you spend your devotion points for this. Is actually what you do.
Gotcha. All right. And what does that get me?
One roll gives you a plus 20, I believe, is the standard
20.
value. So you've got the 15 for the sort of the circumstance that you pulled around this, having set this up, doing the surprise at the right time, plus 20, so 35 additional to your 15 base, which will bring it to 50. Clean shot.
Fantastic. All right. Intrigue plus 30? 35.
Plus 30.
What did we say?
Plus 35, yes. 20 and
Plus
50.
35. I'm just seeing how this funky character sheet works. 15 plus 35. Yep, 50. Excellent. All right. Good. Either I get it or I don't.
Let's see.
No. Heartbreaking.
Close.
Heartbreaking.
So you point out, you begin to shout, but you can't really command the situation, and other people start pointing and shouting, and Vestine seizes this opportunity to basically rip off his cloak and go storming into the middle of everything, and start to shout, pointing at.
No such thing as pushing.
Pushing? No, there is no push here, unfortunately.
Worth a shot.
I double check that to make sure I haven't made a terrible mistake, but no, I don't believe it. Scuffy immediately starts to back down in terms of like, oh, I don't want to duel the, crazy warrior. Tensions start to flare. You can see that Bigfoot looks pretty conflicted. And as the assembly breaks, we're basically going to leave things here for this session at sort of at a point of what's going to happen next. But first of all, I'm going to leave you all with something that your ongoing resolution here is. Sig, you are going to be left next session with the opportunity to try and persuade Vigfur himself, the younger brother. He's probably the last candidate here, and if he withdraws his support for his older brother, then like there's just no there's no way that this guy will be able to kind of like maintain any kind of legal authority here. You might be able to defuse the situation. Njal, so this blacksmith friend of yours, while everyone is sort of scattering and yelling and there's whispers and gossip going around, mentions to you that if this does go to a duel, right, you could possibly step up and volunteer. And he has this really cool sword that he is looking for the right opportunity to hand to somebody. And it would just be perfect. I mean, of course, it would have to be, and address that more next time. Timur, you spot yourself the hidden person that you noticed before is around and continues to hand out these amulets. You realize that they are not selling them; they are literally distributing them after conversations and things like that. And it doesn't seem to be malicious in any way. But you notice that they have been spotted by somebody else, and they are engrossed in quite a serious conversation with them. That almost seems to grow heated for a second. It quickly, they break it off, and the parties separate, and you catch the figure of someone you recognize. This is Ari, the leader of kind of a war band, and the grieving party, the accused in the third trial, who is, the leader of several warriors and apparently a quite influential figure. And he seems to be, in deep conversation with the hidden folk. Something to lean towards.
Yeah.
We'll tidy things up there then. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I like this.
Jackson, Alex, thanks to everybody
Heck
for
yeah.
watching.
Thanks,
It's delightful.
Yeah, we'll be continuing with Age of Vikings next week. Dave will be back before long. I believe we are going to basically play through the Allthing scenario, which is one of these scenarios that you can pick up in the Age of Vikings core book. And then our plan is to be back to Pendragon. So there's the scheduling details. Apart from that, thanks so much, everyone, and we will see you next time. Bye.